Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a seriously fascinating journey. We're going to look at something that starts out as a massive, overwhelming environmental crisis and see exactly how cutting-edge science completely flips the script to turn it into a literal biological goldmine. If you're into sustainability, biotechnology, or just love seeing how incredible modern engineering can be, well, you are definitely in the right place. Let's get into it. So let me ask you a question. What's the hidden environmental cost of making cheese? Think about your favorite slice of pizza, maybe a decadent cheese board, or a rich dish made with paneer. We all love these foods, right? But behind all that deliciousness lies a pretty heavy reality when it comes to industrial dairy production. There's this silent byproduct flowing straight out of those factories, and honestly, it poses a massive challenge. Now here's a staggering statistic to put that all into perspective. 8 to 10 liters. That is the amount of wastewater generated from processing just one single liter of milk, depending on the product being manufactured. Just imagine that ratio for a second. For every single carton of milk that goes into making your cheese or paneer, up to 10 cartons of waste liquid are produced. That creates some massive, immediate, dramatic tension for the industry. I mean, what on earth are you going to do with all that liquid? Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the hidden cost of cheese. When we look at the actual makeup of this massive dairy effluent problem, we aren't just talking about dirty water here. Over 40% of dairy waste consists of super valuable milk components, things like lactose, protein, and butterfat, that literally just wash right down the drain during processing. So the really crucial point here is that this isn't merely a waste management issue. It's a massive economic and biological loss just waiting to happen. The industry is essentially bleeding highly valuable organic material. Now, this liquid is called whey. It's the major byproduct of making cheese, paneer, and casein. And as you can see, while it's a staggering 93% water, that remaining 7%, it is incredibly potent. You've got 5% lactose, 0.8% protein, 0.7% salts, and 0.3% lactic acid. It's highly diluted, sure, but it is incredibly rich in degradable organic matter. Which brings us to Section 2, why whey water pollutes. To really grasp the pollution aspect, you have to understand BOD, or biological oxygen demand, because when whey gets into natural water systems, it doesn't just sit there. The natural microbial populations in the water see all that lactose and protein as basically an all-you-can-eat buffet. These microbes are incredibly oxygen-hungry entities, and as they gorge on the whey, they rapidly deplete the dissolved oxygen in the water. They literally suffocate lakes and rivers, killing off fish and native plant life in the process. And right alongside BOD, we have COD, which stands for chemical oxygen demand. While BOD measures the oxygen needed by biological organisms, COD measures the amount of oxygen required for the complete chemical oxidation of everything in that liter of effluent, both organic and inorganic. Together, these are the two main parameters we use to measure the severe pollution strength of dairy waste. And whey is considered a severe pollutant entirely because its BOD and COD levels are just sky high compared to other industrial wastes. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the scientific literature formally lays out these exact rigorous parameters that engineers have to consider. BOD, for example, is commonly expressed as milligrams per liter consumed over 5 days at 20 degrees Celsius. Because these levels are so incredibly high, you absolutely cannot just discharge whey into our lakes or rivers. So moving on to Section 3, traditional waste treatment methods. So, how have we historically dealt with this watery mess? Well, treatment has typically fallen into 3 old-school buckets. You've got physical methods like screening and filtration, chemical processes like disinfection and precipitation, and your traditional biological methods using aerobic systems like activated sludge or oxidation ponds. But here's the major catch. While these methods are absolutely necessary, simply dumping whey into these standard waste treatment facilities is highly undesirable from an economic standpoint. I mean, you're literally spending money to destroy valuable organic compounds just to get rid of them. But don't worry, here is Section 4, the biotech whey revolution. This is where our story shifts, and it gets incredibly exciting. Enter the heroes of our explainer, biotechnology and recombinant DNA. We are talking about a total paradigm shift here. The old mindset was all about disposing of waste, right? Treating whey as just a costly pollutant. But the new mindset? Creating commercial products. We're now using genetic engineering to turn that exact same pollutant into a highly valuable industrial resource. So, how exactly do we pull this off? Recombinant DNA technology. This tech offers a direct way to manipulate a cell's metabolism. Scientists can actually identify specific DNA segments for gene control and introduce entirely new genes right into host microorganisms. Basically, you're giving these tiny microbes novel synthetic capacities, programming them to produce specific, useful biochemical products straight out of the way. And the sheer brilliance of these solutions is just mind-blowing. We're taking specific microorganisms and putting them right to work. For example, lactose-converting yeasts like Cluiveromyces are used to consume the lactose, which vastly reduces the BOD pollution while simultaneously creating edible single-cell protein. Then you've got engineered strains of S. cerevisiae, that's just your standard baker's yeast, expressing genes from E. coli to literally brew bioethanol fuel directly from cheese leftovers? No way, right? Plus, rotoferrix ferrireducins converts organic matter directly into power in biological fuel cells. And Pseudomonas putida is actually used for the biodegradation of petroleum oils. And this brilliantly illustrates the advanced biotechnological applications we're seeing in the scientific literature today. For instance, that last one I mentioned, the genetically engineered strain of Pseudomonas putida used to degrade petroleum components, was actually developed by scientist Anand Chakrabarty. They are literally using the waste products of the dairy industry to cultivate bacteria that can go out and clean up oil spills. It's a real game changer. Let's rapid fire a few more of these mind-bending applications. Certain microbes from activated sludge can act almost like microbial magnets, accumulating toxic metals like iron, copper, nickel, and cadmium to completely pull them right out of the sludge. Lactic acid bacteria, like L. cremeris, are used to produce valuable exopolysaccharides. We even use immobilized microorganisms trapped on porous membranes to create physical BOD sensors to monitor pollution in real time. And immobilized cell technology uses specific bacteria like Nitrosomas and Nitrobacter to convert toxic ammonia into nitrates in sewage processing. Which leaves us with this final amazing thought. Will tomorrow's energy grid actually be powered by today's cheese waste? We've seen how biotechnology takes a massive environmental hazard and brilliantly engineers it into protein, ethanol, and biological fuel cells. So the next time you have a slice of cheese, just remember that the watery waste left behind might just be the key to our sustainable biotech future. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning what's possible.